That countdown music is very soothing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's it's more soothing than the Guardian Angel 2 music. But but good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder.
And if you're wondering why I didn't play the Guardian Angel trailer, it's because I ended up having to shut the campaign down. Just wasn't getting any traction on it, and I don't know why you got muted, DB.
It's it seems to be doing that a lot. Hello, everyone.
Yes, and yeah, so I just took the campaign down after 5 days. It just wasn't getting any traction, but fear not. I do have plans for Guardian Angel. More than likely, I will do a trade paperback with all three books in one collection. Keep an eye out for that campaign. That one's probably going to be on Fund My Comic, so which is where all the Guardian Angel campaigns are going to be going forward. But anyway, with that out of the way. Oh, by the way, DB has a new book out. Links in the description. Buy that book. Yes, and hello, Arcos.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, so if you're returning like Arcos, welcome back. If you're new, what we do is we critique stuff. Lately, we've been making a journey into free streaming platforms. This week, we delved into Tubi once again, as well as Pluto TV, which I have never used Pluto TV before. It's a different experience.
Yeah. So, by the way, if it seems like we're off, I think we're just both so used to the mental break from the trailer at the start of the episode that it feels like things that started very abruptly.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference between 30 seconds and a minute, I guess.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our trip into Pluto TV with Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
Yes, Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, which would be the fifth Jack Ryan movie. Is that right? Yeah, fifth. And it was a reboot of the franchise, going back to the beginning of Jack Ryan's career in the CIA. We get a little go with his backstory, where he's a student at the was it London School of Economics, I believe, was where he was going. Yeah, and then 9/11 happens, and so then he quits college and joins the Marine Corps, and then it's while in a helicopter in Afghanistan, they get shot down, and that's where he hurts his back, and he's going through rehab, and that's where he meets a young med student named Kathy Mueller, and of course, for those of you who are fans of Jack Ryan, Kathy ends up being Jack Ryan's wife.
Although you'd be kind of surprised by it from how they interact in this movie.
Yeah. So first of all, Jack Ryan's played by Chris Pine, who, of course, is Captain Kirk in the Kelvin Timeline Star Trek movies. He was also
in against him.
Well, yeah, we won't hold that against him. He was also in the most recent Dungeons and Dragons movie, which, if you have not watched that movie, I recommend it highly.
The creators were stupid trying to make it some sort of anti-toxic masculinity thing. The only thing you could possibly stretch that out from is the fact that they had large barbarian women who seemed to have a thing for short kings.
Yeah. But other than that, there was nothing really political or anything going on with that movie. He was also in Hell or High Water, which we've also reviewed.
And of course, he was in the Wonder Woman movies.
Right.
And man, I gotta say, like, he's kind of up there with Henry Cavill, where it's like he's a great. He seems like he should be a great leading man with an amazing career, and yet,
yeah,
He keeps being in these misbegotten franchises.
Yeah, yeah. I feel bad for those guys. They just, they can't seem to catch a break.
Right. Now, Henry Cavill, of course, is much more screwed over than Mr. Pine, but
mhm.
because at least they made multiple Star Trek movies, and he was handsomely paid for them, and they
Yeah, yeah.
and they didn't like jerk him around towards the end.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they kind of did. They were trying to do the fourth movie, but they wanted him to take a pay cut.
Uh, Let me rephrase that. They didn't jerk him. He did not allow himself to be jerked around successfully.
Yeah, that's more. That's better. Yeah,
Because I'm pretty sure he just kept saying no.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah. So and then also rounding out the cast is Kevin Costner playing. Was it Thomas Hart? Or well, actually, not rounding out the cast, but also Kevin Costner playing Jack Ryan's boss, Thomas Harper. And interesting little bit of trivia: Kevin Costner was actually up for the role of Jack Ryan when I think Baldwin left, and then they ended up giving it to Harrison. They give it to Harrison Ford. Um, and then you also got the villain of the movie, Victor. What was the how do you pronounce his name?
Sheridan?
Sheridan. Yeah, played by Kenneth Branagh, who was also the director on the movie.
And when I directed Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, I got such a great performance out of me because I respected me so much.
Yes. Ooh. Oh yeah, but yeah. So basically, the crux of the story is Jack Ryan is working in a.
Actually, let's take a step back.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's pretend the audience has never heard of this Jack Ryan fellow before.
Okay. Yes. So Jack Ryan is the creation of the late Tom Clancy, who's a novelist, wrote a lot of political spy thrillers in the 80s and 90s. And previously, he's been before this movie, he was played by Alec Baldwin in The Hunt for Red October, Harrison Ford in the Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger, and then Ben Affleck played him in The Sum of All Fears,
which is the only one of those I had seen in theaters. And I gotta say that that version of Jack Ryan didn't really impress himself on me. Like I remember the movie, but mostly like the spectacle scenes after the nuke goes off.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with Affleck in the movie.
That was like what, early 2000s? Like that was not a peak time in his career. I think that actually he's one of those guys who his acting shtick improves by being a bit older and haggard.
Right, yeah. Like an old and haggard Batman.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But and then now there is an Amazon show, a Jack Ryan Amazon show with John Krasinski playing Jack Ryan. I've only seen like 2 seasons of that, but I remember it being pretty decent.
Yeah, like when you talked about it, you always had positive feelings on it.
Yeah.
So I'd say that would it be fair to say that you're a Jack Ryan fan or
Casual Jack Ryan fan, yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't call myself that, in part because Red October, I just kept wanting to be like, come on, you have James Bond over there with a bad Russian accent, or
Yeah.
an unattempted Russian accent, being awesome in every scene.
Yes,
Stop cutting to Jack Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think this, but I mean, I didn't necessarily have a problem with Chris Pine's portrayal of the character. He didn't have a whole lot to work with.
Right. Like,
Yeah,
this was a reboot / reimagining because I believe Jack Ryan, he probably got, I can't remember specifically, but he got his helicopter accident in Vietnam originally, right?
Was it Vietnam or was it? It might have been Grenada or Panama. No, not Panama. Grenada.
Grenada would make sense for the timing of things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the novels, it might have been Vietnam. But the movies, it might have been. I can't remember where it was, but yeah, it was something like that. Yeah. But yeah, in this one, it's in Afghanistan, and and of course, and so the crux of the movie is while he's in rehab, he's recruited by the CIA by Kevin Costner's character to work for the CIA, basically as a a financial intelligence officer, because he's very good at spotting patterns and seeing discrepancies and things.
And he had been attending the London School of Economics before he decided to join the army.
Right. Yeah. And so yeah, so Costner's like, all right, well, I want you to go back to school, get your PhD, and then you're gonna, he basically they insert him into a Wall Street firm, investment firm, and he starts seeing a lot of irregularities with this one Russian company. And so he reports it to his superiors, and then his superiors are like, well, we need you to go to Moscow to look into this. And part of his whole cover is he talks to his contact in an old movie theater. And back at home, of course, he and Kathy are engaged, and she finds the ticket stub in his pants, and she starts to assume that he's having an affair.
As one does.
Yes. So then he goes to Moscow, and he has this big African security guard who almost kills him. And then that's when Ryan and everybody realizes that there's something really bad coming along, and essentially Kenneth Branagh's character is about to stage an attack, massive attack, and at the same time they're like dumping all of the US currency that they own, so basically completely devaluing the dollar, and then have this terrorist attack, and then basically trigger another Great Depression.
Right, like just pump up the dollar. It's like undermining in a medieval siege.
Right. Yeah. And so of course the other aspect of it, while Jack Ryan's dealing with this, he's got everything going on with Kathy. And did we mention who was playing Kathy?
Keira Knightley.
Keira Knightley, yes. Who, of course, most people remember from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Doing her best impression of what's her name from Casino Royale in this movie, like just in terms of look and acting.
Yes, yeah. Ava Green, yes, as Vesper Lind.
I think it's very funny that to a certain extent that whole era of Bond was trying so hard to ape the Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
And then you have this movie, which it's like very much the makers of the Jack Ryan movies going, well, shoot, we need our Casino Royale to bring this into the modern era.
Right. Yeah. Well, didn't quite work out that way. Didn't quite work out very well. But yeah, so he's good. And then Kathy shows up in Russia because they were supposed to meet up after he was done in Russia. They were going to meet up in Paris. Right. But then she ends up going to Moscow, and then she gets roped into this whole operation.
Right. Now, what I'll say about this plot overall is that it's a it's like a scheme that I could see somebody attempting and executing. Like the Jack Ryan movies I've seen have always been plausible.
Yeah.
Now, like just to think back on it, in Hunt for Red October, you had the excitement of, oh, we've got this super stealth Russian submarine that could wipe out the whole eastern seaboard. Like, who's going to own that?
Yeah.
Or in Patriot Games, which we reviewed, you've got a clear one-on-one antagonism between Jack Ryan and these Irish terrorists.
Right.
Clear and present danger. Apparently, in the original novel, it was the more suspected Middle Eastern terrorists.
Yeah, but they changed it to drug cartels.
Uh, with Neo bad guys from World War II.
Oh no, that was
Wait,
Some
wait,
of All Fears.
I thought I said Some of All Fears. My bad.
Yeah, Some of All Fears was when they changed the Middle Eastern terrorists to the bad guys from World War II, or neo bad guys from World War II, and then Clear Present Danger was
That's the one we haven't watched yet. Yeah,
we haven't watched that one yet. No, that was another Harrison Ford. It was that was the Colombian drug cartels.
okay.
Yeah.
So
but yes.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, like, for all of those threats, there's like I think it's like a more clear physical football that you're trying to track. Like, there is a thing that you can reach out and touch.
Mm-hmm.
Turning it into like financial shenanigans makes it both more blasé in a way, and you have to like try to insert action into it artificially.
Yeah.
And also, it becomes less plausible. At least my cynical self, it's less plausible that they'd be able to stop it once the plan had been started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they're very lucky they didn't have more backups in case the in case the guy was disabled somehow from doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Arcos mentions the funny part of the security guard trying to kill him was before he goes to Russia, he complains about possibly having to torture someone for info and condemns his boss for waterboarding, and then kills the guard by drowning. Yeah.
This movie is full of hypocrisy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, I wasn't very engaged with this one, for a couple of reasons. One was that I kind of like Jack Ryan as a middle-aged guy with a loving wife and small child he has to worry about.
Yeah, as opposed to a young guy who's just starting out. Yeah.
And I have a hard time imagining Keira Knightley, the take command nurse, turning into the loving kind of homebody wife that we see later in the movie, in the previous movies.
Well, she was she was a nurse. She was a eye surgeon.
Okay, you know what? That shows how much I remember her.
Yeah.
But okay, at the very least, she had the feel of someone more domestic. Is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
Right. Yeah. With the way that the way she was with the kids. Yeah.
Right, the kids, and like very supportive of him.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to use the phrase "girl boss" because that isn't quite what Keira Knightley was, but it's more like she was just kind of abrasive, and it was kind of funny to me that like the whole plot kind of relied on the one hand, he kept offering to marry her because if you're in the CIA, you can only tell a spouse that you're in the CIA.
Yeah.
So he wanted to like let her know what was going on so she would stop being suspicious. But at the same time, she kept like oh, I'm going to keep rejecting your marriage offers. But at the same time, I'm going to check up on you in Moscow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, make up your mind, darling.
If you like it, then let him put a ring on it.
Yeah. And most women, if they're with a guy who's like, like really wants to marry you that much, most women would be like, yes, let's get married. Let's
compatible then. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Now, part of the reason I'm critical of the characters is because all of their scenes together were just like they had no chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were always like sniping at each other too. And now some of that was they were having to act that way, but I don't know how much
even in the scenes when they were being themselves.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny where he had to pretend to be a blitzed out degenerate financial bro.
Yeah.
To set up an excuse for him to leave a meeting.
Yeah.
And leave her in his stead, but yeah, this wasn't fun.
No, yeah. And Brenna, like, like Kenneth Branagh is an amazing actor. And he was so like stilted in a movie that he's directing.
Yeah, like how does that happen? Was he just too busy being focused on the other stuff,
Yeah,
Was
maybe.
he just like stretched too many ways? Did the character just kind of suck? I think the character just kind of sucked.
I think the character just kind of sucked. Yeah, the Russian oligarch with a short temper.
Like, okay, yeah, I mean, like, um, it's not like the Irish terrorist from Patriot Games was the most deep character, but he had clear motivations, and you understood why he had this vendetta against Jack Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, in this one, he's just like, oh, he's Russian and he hates America.
Right. And he was assigned to do a thing because of it, because of a pipeline through Turkey or whatever.
Right. Yeah. That's yeah.
Action scenes were okay. I'll give this like a firm C.
Mm.
Also, you
Yeah.
might notice that the logo for the evil company looks suspiciously like Enron's.
Yes. Yeah. Not a lot of subtlety there. Yeah, this movie came out in 2014, right? Not long, just a few years after the 2008 financial crisis. So I'm sure the plot probably had played some of that event played into the creation of the plot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you can see why this didn't spawn a huge franchise with people waiting on with bated breath to see more of this Jack Ryan.
Right. Yeah. Part of me wonders if Paramount didn't make it just so that they could hold the rights to the character,
Are they in,
a la Fantastic Four and the
and Fan Four Stick?
Fan Four
Yeah,
Stick, yeah,
for that matter, Fantastic Four with Pedro Pascal to an extent.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, is Paramount at all involved with the current Amazon show?
I don't know.
Because if they aren't, boy, that did not pay out for them.
No, it didn't. Let's see. Jack Ryan, Amazon. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Jack Ryan, Amazon. Doesn't say.
Okay, if Paramount's name isn't on it prominently, then they probably aren't. So
Yeah.
maybe movie rights are separate from TV rights, or maybe they just let the rights lapse after this failed.
Oh no, no, they're involved with it. Yeah, Paramount
Okay.
Skydance. Yeah, Paramount Skydance. Yeah, they're involved.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then my suspicion was correct.
Yeah. But if you are curious about this movie, Pluto TV, maybe on Paramount Plus, I'm not sure.
Although let's take a moment to talk about Pluto TV because
Yes.
okay, so where I feel like Tubi is a totally valid watching experience, and my only real complaint is the frequency of ads.
Yeah.
Using Pluto TV on the Xbox is a freaking nightmare.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah, it kept starting the movie like 15 minutes in.
Right. Like I was very confused with this one, which might be part of like why I had a negative opinion of it to start with, because I spent 5 minutes being very confused. Because at least on the Xbox player, when you start a movie, it starts it after the first ad break, which is like 15 minutes in.
Oh.
Then you have to wrangle it back. And when you open up the app, it starts you on live TV instead of presenting you a menu of options, because Pluto TV is much more trying to recreate the live table experience or live cable experience.
Right. Yeah.
Which did you have any of that on PlayStation or wherever else you used it?
I used it on Apple TV, and it did have the live was on there. The live video was on there, but it was like in the corner. It wasn't like on the screen fully.
Right. Like if I wasn't as app savvy as I am, I could see like an older person trying to use it on an Xbox being very confused. Because like it really just feels like it's trying to lump you into, it's like some Dallas cheerleaders thing I was watching, like some reality TV show. that it kept trying to make me watch.
Oh god.
And it was very obnoxious to actually not only find movies I had saved previously.
Oh jeez. Well, when I opened it up, it had Murder, She Wrote on there. Oh.
So yeah, I think that as far as free movie platforms goes, Tubi is definitely the stronger choice.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you if the selection is actually better on one or the other, because I had such a hard time navigating that edition of Pluto TV that I couldn't tell you.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So yeah, not for Xbox owners. I
no.
don't know if that's just like a lack of updates or just they don't care or what.
Yeah.
Also, the ad placements were more egregious than on Tubi, in my opinion.
Yes, they were. Yeah, and very abrupt too. Like, more abrupt than they are on Tubi.
Which is saying something, considering what we complained about last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I had a thought to add this in at the last minute, but I have this half memory that I may have already talked about this at some point. This is
Yeah.
something else I was watching on my own on Tubi. So let's
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Have I ever talked about ghost stories before on here? Because I know I bring this up anytime I have the opportunity in real life.
I don't know. We've talked about it, but or you've mentioned it, yeah, but you've never done like a review of it or anything. And I haven't either. I've only watched like a few episodes of it, so I'm familiar. I'm well aware of it. Yeah.
Okay. So if I have reviewed it before, it was years ago before we started doing like splitting up the streams into solo videos.
Yeah.
So this is something we watched on Tubi, which means you can watch it for free. The ad placements, because this is television, are much more sane than it is on movies typically.
Mm.
Like they're actually in places you'd kind of expect it.
Yeah.
Ghost Stories is a 2001 anime. You have this handy 2001 owl hat worn by this nerdy guy here to remind you when this came out. And it's kind of too anime. If you watch it subtitled, which I okay, the reason you would watch it subtitled would be if you have children in the house and you want to actually enjoy it as its originally intended school ghost story. Then it's a perfectly serviceable Japanese yokai tale. Basic premise is that the brother and sister pair, Satsuki and Keiichiro, have moved into a new town, and they happen to be attending the same school that their mother attended. Their now deceased mother had attended, and while they're there, they meet Hajime and Leo here, who are just a couple of. I think they're all supposed to be like 10 or like 10 to 12 or so. I forget the exact age.
Yeah.
But the little brother brings his cat with him to school, and the cat runs into the abandoned schoolhouse. Now, this is one of those things where I don't know if this is actually common practice in Japan or if it is just a framing device used by multiple TV shows.
Yeah.
But it seems like if you have a schoolhouse, when it comes time to build a new schoolhouse, you have the same plot of land. You don't demolish the existing schoolhouse right away. You build a new schoolhouse on the same property. Then you leave that schoolhouse up until you're ready to rebuild the schoolhouse, at which point you would demolish the old schoolhouse, keep using the new schoolhouse, and then move into the new schoolhouse.
Yeah.
So kind of like almost like a fallow field system.
Hmm.
But the old house is haunted by a ghost named Amano-jaku, who is this, his normal form is this big Oni-looking fellow back here, who had been imprisoned by the siblings' mother back in the day. And also you have an older girl, Momoko, here, who is also like a psychic of some sort in the original. I've never watched the subtitle, but I'm giving the basic story that you would follow. And so they find the diary written by the mother on how to, like, all the different ghosts she encountered and the spells you used to defeat them. So that's what the show actually is. What the show became, and there have been a lot of stories online about this one, and I haven't ever been able to really narrow it down. So the version you might commonly hear online is that the show wasn't successful in Japan, and so when it was brought to the States, they didn't expect much from it. So the producers basically said, do whatever you feel like with it. I've heard this pushed back on some in recent years because people have actually gone back and looked at the ratings, and like the things like kid-friendly yokai content in Japan is actually very popular.
Oh.
So it apparently had done better than was reported here in the West. Like, not like an all-time thing, but for like a seasonal anime, like that was decent, at least from what I recall.
Yeah.
So the alternate theory, which I think is more plausible, is that ADV was going down the dumps when this thing was dubbed.
Mm.
And so the director, a fellow named Stephen Foster, who is kind of known for not really liking anime that much and for wanting to improve the scripts, quote unquote, just decide, like, he and the voice actors, I don't know if it's just because they were tired. I don't know if who approved of this.
Yeah.
But they basically turned this thing into South Park.
Yeah.
So the version of ghost stories that a sane adult human being in the West would watch is about the Manshita family, originally the Miyanoshita, but Manshita, haha, sounds like man shitter. So
Yeah.
Doing a bunch of filthy ad-libbed lines back and forth at each other while voicing these young children.
Oh, God.
Like, everyone's always calling Satsuki a slut.
Yes.
Keiichiro is literally retarded. He just makes the sounds the whole time.
Yeah, it's
Hajime is kind of a jerk and a lech. Leo is a Jewish stereotype.
Yeah.
Momoko is a born-again Christian who it's kind of implied that either she is a repressed gay or she puts it, how do I attract them?
Yeah.
And Amano Jaku is like the only serious character, but that's because he's a ghost possessing a cat who is just very sarcastic and angry in both versions.
Yeah.
Because he kind of lost his powers to a great extent.
Yeah.
And so the dub version is just hilarious.
Yeah.
With all types of great lines.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do you think this construction's a good idea? I heard there's a burial ground here. Just dig the hole, just dig the hole, digger. Or, hey, aren't you kids out a little bit late? Maybe I should take you home. Do your parents know you're out? Just drive the bus driver.
Well, yeah, some of them I don't know if I can say them. I don't know if you can say some.
Yeah, there's a very, very salty.
Yeah. And Arco says this anime, along with Duel Masters and Black Lagoon, are some of the greatest argument for dub superiority anime fans have. It's a good argument, though objectively wrong. Yeah, and I would also put the Cowboy Bebop dub in there. It was good too.
Yeah, like, so it's an interesting piece of history that I'm glad doesn't get repeated very often.
Yeah.
Because, like, okay, would we be talking about this little ghost story anime in 2026 if they hadn't done this to it? Odds are no. This would be sitting in the, like, moldering in the bottom of Crunchyroll or God help you, and whatever the other streaming services that uses a picture of a monkey for no reason.
High Dive.
High Dive, thank you. I probably would have been on High Dive because High Dive has a lot of the the dregs of ADV's library from when they collapsed.
Right. Yeah.
And like it would just be like, oh, it would just be eating up server space somewhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like the original story is like, and this time when I was watching through it while doing other things, like, so I just kind of had it on the background. I was realizing like most of the episodes of this were actually effective kid friendly horror. So it's like you did kind of lose something that was fit for its original purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So it's like you don't want to repeat the experiment too many times. What it basically is, I'm sure that this inspired a lot of people to make their abridged series back in the day, of like Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon and whatnot.
yeah. 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 Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, the episodes I have watched, yeah, are just like, like, just completely random lines in there. They're just like, what does this have to do with the show?
Right, and like there's some cultural references that have dated over time. Like they just like references to. They even have like lots of references to actor Vic Mignola.
Mignogna.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
It's been a while since I thought about him, but yeah, Vic Mignogna.
Yeah.
In one episode, I forget if the character they were calling Vic Mignogna was actually voiced by him, or if they just were just riffing.
May have just been riffing. Yeah, because they didn't like him very much.
Yeah. True, though this was at the stage of his life where they pretended to like him because he was popular. So,
well, yeah.
It being like dubbed in 2005 or so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but so it's like it's what it actually is. It's like a case of the artistic value of vandalism, because this show is definitely vandalized from its original form, but they made something very special out of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say go give it a watch. It is on Tubi. I think it's also in Crunchyroll, but again, we're specifically in free month here, and this is kind of what I was turning on as background noise while I was doing other things the last couple of weeks. So watch it through all the way. It's still funny. It still holds up. It's still like a cast of voice actors who I feel like they get a lot of. I actually feel like English voice actors in general get a lot of crap from the anime industry, especially the ones working in 2005 or so, when they're a necessary component because not everybody wants or is able to read subtitles, so it gives them a way to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
So yeah. Give it a watch if you have a filthy mind like I do.
Yes, definitely. Oh yeah. I need to go back and rewatch it again, or finish it, I should say. Yeah.
Yep. Well, there's absolutely nothing connecting the next review topic besides the fact that it is also hosted on Tubi.
Yes.
Well, I guess they are both kind of ridiculous in their own ways.
Yes. Yeah. They kind of yeah. The Delta Force,
the Chuck Norris classic.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to do a Chuck Norris movie because most of you probably saw he passed away last week.
Yep.
But yeah, so we got into getting in a little bit of his filmography. The only other Chuck Norris movie I've watched was I reviewed Invasion USA for the channel, which I believe is also on Tubi. And of course, he was in the Expendables 2. Had a very brief role in that. But this movie, it was one of his canon films, another one of his canon films movies, which interestingly enough, this movie was directed by Menachem Golan, who was one of the bigwigs at Canon Films. It also stars Lee Marvin in his final movie, along with like George Kennedy's also in there. Robert Forster plays the villain. and but yeah, it's basically just silly canon films action at its finest, I think. Um, it's so basically the crux of the movie is the crux of the movie. It's
Oh,
follows.
did it mute me? Damn it.
Oh, did you get muted? Oh, okay.
Oh, no, no. Well, actually, I was just listening to what you were saying too. So,
Oh, okay. Um, yeah. So yeah. So it's basically just like I said, it's kind of peak canon films action silliness. It's so the movie starts off where our titular Delta Force they have to they're getting out of Tehran in which is capital of Iran in 1980 because and this was an actual event when the Ayatollah when the Shah was overthrown and the Ayatollah took over. Um, some of our people got taken hostage, and in 1980, there was a special forces mission to try to rescue him, but then the helicopter crashed, um, and which was kind of the final nail in the coffin for the Jimmy Carter administration.
yep.
And so
Among the many, many nails that
I'm
Jimmy
like,
Carter managed to get into his administration.
yeah, yeah. Oof. But yeah, but they're pulling from that botched operation, and of course, in the beginning of the movie, we see Chuck Norris being he's being very heroic, and he rescues one of his fellow soldiers he gets trapped in a burning hangar, and of course, as a result of the failed mission, he tells his commanding, Chuck Norris tells his commanding officer Lee Marvin, that he's retiring, and he's leaving the army. And then we flash forward 5 years, and some uh, uh, bad guys from the Middle East they hijack a plane in Greece, and they're taking the plane to Beirut, and the lead the lead bad guy is played by I think was oh god, what was his name? Yeah,
Was
Abdul.
Abdul the lead guy?
Yeah, Abdul. Yeah.
Robert Forster,
Robert Forster. Yeah.
which is not the name I was expecting to see for that actor.
No. He's clearly very tanned. He Yeah, so yeah, Robert Forster is like he was one of these like veteran character actors for a long time. Most people remember him from Breaking Bad. Um, but he was in like a lot of stuff, especially in the 80s. He was actually in a horror movie, Alligator, about this giant mutant alligator that's terrorizing Chicago, or was it Chicago or Philly? I can't remember. But yeah, so they hijacked this plane, and the first so here's the thing, like the first hour of the movie, like Chuck Norris has maybe 5 minutes of screen time total.
Yeah, it's this movie feels like it's two kind of awkwardly duct taped together.
Yeah. Because it starts off where like the majority of the first half of the movie is mainly just about the plane and the people and the passengers on the plane and the terrorists and all this, and then
Most of the hostages get rescued.
yes, yeah,
At least the women and children.
yeah, they let the women and children go. Yeah. And then well, the other thing too they do is they separate out all the Jewish passengers because
Right.
yeah.
Right. And they had like some very maudlin bits where you had people who had survived the Holocaust, oh, not again.
Yeah, and the flight attendant on there, she was German, and she didn't want to help him out because just didn't want to do that again. you know,
Yep.
um, yeah. So yeah. There are definitely some moments in there where they're pulling on trying to pull your heartstrings, which now I should mention real quick, Golan and Globus were Israeli. So
Right. Yeah, I would never have guessed.
yeah.
Hey, you mean to tell me that there were uh, uh, Jewish people working in Hollywood? I never.
Really? Huh.
Um,
Yeah.
but anyhow, so like that part of the movie was going on for so long that, and I forget what the exact mark where the plane finally lands. I kept thinking to myself, okay, they have Chuck Norris and the Delta Force getting ready to like try to rescue them. Are they going to try to board the plane mid-flight?
That's what I was wondering too. Yeah. I
Like
kind of,
it
yeah.
feels like this is like an airplane movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I thought they were gonna do like that one Kurt Russell movie where Steven Seagal gets killed like 10 minutes in. But no, they eventually, yeah, the plane does eventually land, and then yeah, they have the whole thing where like the Delta Force are about to storm the plane, and but then they don't storm the plane because they find out there are more than two bad guys on there, and yeah, and then it pivots where the plane goes back to Beirut. So then they're in Beirut, and they got to find the hostages, and that's where like it turns into like a completely different movie.
Right. Like movie two, they're on the ground in Beirut and they're trying to rescue the hostages.
Yeah.
I feel like the only purpose of the first half of the movie was it was like ripped from the headlines
Yeah.
at the time. Like so it was very much like exploitative might be the wrong or might be too mean of a word for it, but it's definitely something.
Yeah, borderline propaganda.
Yeah, this one is definitely not subtle in any
No.
way.
No.
I did feel like they did give the one terrorist who was very angry, like they actually were trying to humanize him a bit by having him like be mindful of the small child and I had a small child until da 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 da.
Yeah, yeah.
So like there was like some balance in the plot. That almost feels like the whole purpose of the first half of the movie, honestly, was to well, one, highlight what it was like in these hijackings, but also from the perspective of the creators, but also uh, to give the villains some stakes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, then it just and then of course as soon as they go to they're in Beirut, and then it turns into, a good old-fashioned Chuck Norris movie.
Right. With some plausible-ish scenes of the Delta Force doing their thing to try to bring back the hostages.
Yeah.
And then there's Chuck Norris just off in his own movie.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah, that's one of the things about the things they mention in the movies. Like he's always going off on his own doing something else. Like he's never with the team, really.
Nope, he's always just going AWOL, getting personal revenge,
Yeah,
um, yeah, getting into protracted fist fights.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, they, as far as I could tell, they never made a toy out of it. But he basically had a magic motorcycle, like the type of thing that Batman would have, and people would just laugh at.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it had rockets in the front and the back, and the little machine guns. Yeah,
And he could shoot at machine gun, or he could aim the machine guns without aiming the machine guns because he was pointing straight ahead, but still raking fire over the cars that were to the left and right of him as he was driving along.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a live action cartoon for adults. Yeah,
Pretty much
yeah,
with like it's like the maudlin parts are like the vegetables you have to eat so then you can enjoy your meat.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's if you're looking for things that are like implausible, and you're not like you know trying not to think too hard about it, this is definitely something that would be up your alley.
Again, like it's a plausible movie unless Chuck Norris is on the screen. Like even in the opening scene, he's able to like partially lift up a jeep to get a
Yeah,
guy out from under it.
yeah, 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 and then he roundhouse kicks his way through the climax.
Yep.
Yeah.
After being gone for most of the movie, because honestly, let's be clear here. If he was on the airplane during the hijacking, there would not have been a successful hijacking.
No, it would not. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like I liked this one more than last week's movie, which was the action.
We watched what was
Rambo 2.
Rambo
That's right.
2, yeah.
Yeah, because Rambo 2 I kind of felt was a bit exploitative and lost the depth that Rambo 1 had, First Blood
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
This is just like, okay, you took kind of a decentish action movie and you elevated it with implausible nonsense.
Yeah.
My expectations were low and they were met.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, I would just say like the first half of the movie was kind of like okay, whatever, it was what it was, but the second half kept me hooked. I'm like, oh yes, dumb action.
Yep.
Yeah, but yes, as DB mentioned at the beginning of the review, currently on Tubi.
Yep. To be or not to be, well, definitely not Pluto.
Yes. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Yep.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy DB's book, and we'll see you next week. Night, everybody.
Good night.